Hey folks, and good morning. We are leaving Mukdahan this morning. If you recall the last episode, we had a lovely evening out on the river in Mukdahan here, but it's time to leave, and our destination today will be the city of Roi Et. And we'll take a quick look at the city and see what's doing there. But what we're really going to do in Roi Et is head out into a village, a small village, and try to get a taste for what it's like to live in a very small village here in Isaan. So, without further ado, let's jump into this and get on down the road to Roi Et. So we just made it into Roi Et, and we're gonna have some breakfast here. Guys got some all kind of good looking pork broth for the noodle soups. So we'll have a nice breakfast. It was a lovely ride in here today. We made it in 2.5 hours with one stop. So yeah, we prefer to do most of our riding first thing in the morning. It seems cooler, there's less traffic, and I also believe that the chance of rain is diminished. Oh, that's good broth. Oh, we got some iced coffee out of the can. So after breakfast, we made it to the hotel, and that would be this place. It's called The Nine. And the door was locked when we got there, but somebody heard us knocking and let us in. That might be a security feature, I don't know. But the place looks relatively new. I don't think it's been here long, but we got all checked in and went up to the room, and I guess you could say the room was on the smaller side, but it was very nicely appointed, a nice modern TV. We had a fridge, a little coffee, hot water boiler. We had robes. The bed was kind of tucked back here in an awkward corner, and they make little swans out of the towels like that. In my experience, the places that make the swans out of the towels usually have low quality towels. That's just been my experience. But after afternoon, we went out to downtown Roi Et, and that's where we are now. And we wanted to make our way down here to this kind of the big city landmark you see in the distance there. That would be the Roi Et Tower. And it's located at kind of the foot of a park right here and a lake, and it's a brilliant area to come in the morning or the afternoon and walk around, jog around, bike around, whatever you want to do. But it's a beautiful area. They've got temples, and we also had dinner down here, but it was an awful meal and not really worth mentioning. So after the park, we went and found a little bit of an indoor night market, which was nice. And there was this lady here selling these cakes. I thought these cakes were beautiful. 25 baht for a slice of cake, so I guess that's about 80 cents or something. And I just had to have a piece, get the taste of the dinner out of my mouth, and that really hit the spot. She was glad to have a customer. Today, we're going to do something different. We're not going to get on the bike, ride to a town, check into a hotel. Nope. A little bit different today as we sit here in Roi Et. We are going to the house of a friend who's agreed to put us up for the night in a small village in the heart of Isaan. And we're going to see how the other half lives. So that'll be something different. It'll break up the monotony. It's only about an hour from here. So let's take a quick look at this park and have some breakfast and then head out. yeah, this wasn't part of my original itinerary, but when I was given the opportunity, I thought, how can I come to Isaan and not experience village life? So here we are. Let's get down there. This is a typical small Isaan village. One thing that's not so typical right now is this bore the brunt of the drought. Every place else in Isaan I've been up to now has water in the rice fields and looks like they've recovered from the drought. Not this place. The rice fields are bone dry. They're still not getting any rain. So that's something that's a little bit atypical right now. But I think they still have some water in the lakes. So let's go take a look at that. So as luck would have it, the day we visited the village, they had a fishing competition. Now it had started early in the morning, so we were Johnny-come-latelys to the fishing competition, but there was still some folks around seeing what they could catch. But apparently they stock this lake, and then once a year, pay 400 baht, it's all you can catch. And I think we missed most of it, but they still got some hangers on out here, seeing if they can get that last fish. That's how you do it. There's no need for a rod and reel out here. So yeah, these boys didn't have anything sizable. They just had a couple very, very small ones, and I think our friend over here with the net had about the same luck. A couple little tiny ones in there, but I think mostly was full of mud. So V thought she would give fishing a hand, and somebody had stretched a net clear across the lake, so she jumped in to pull it up, and yeah, she had about the same amount of luck. There wasn't anything there either, but I give her props for jumping in the lake and barefooting it through the mud. Yeah, I think they're about fished out, but I don't know, I always appreciate the people that fish like that with the nets. So much different than the rod and reel that I grew up with. So it was also cool-off time for the local cows in the village while we were down here at the lake, and some of them were in there cooling off, getting a bath and a drink, but others were reluctant to get in, which kind of makes me think, what do these cows know that I don't know? Maybe there's some stuff lurking in this water that they're afraid of. Oh my God, V has appropriated one of the youngsters' bikes. I guess that's okay. This is village life. It's just a loner. You got a flat tire. She didn't understand that. So yeah, we came around the lake and found these guys. They had been fishing all morning apparently, and basically they told us that right now was Miller time for them, so they're taking a break, and they did have some sizable fish. The guy here in the yellow shirt actually spoke a little bit of English with me, but they were really nice, as was everybody. Everybody was just so laid back and neighborly. You felt like you've known them for a long time, even though you just met. But on the other side of the village was a market. And that's all I needed to hear to go check it out. So the front of the market looked a little bit like my local market where I live. But when I came around back, that's where the differences became apparent. They were playing bocce ball and there were wild cows. So yeah, I guess this is some kind of variation of bocce ball. There were two different games going on, both of which looked like they had different rules. But it was nice and shady and a little bit cool back here, and they were having a good time. This definitely was the social event of the village. They even had like a little referee out there, and they did all this amongst the grazing of the cows, I guess. who seemed upset about something, they would make a lot of noise. But out front in the market was very similar to what I'm used to. The selection was less than what I'm used to. There was less items to pick from, and the items that they did have, they had less of. But I think it was adequate given the small geographic area of this place and the limited amount of people who live here. So it was probably all they need. And these sausages look like they were pretty special.
Very, very small village market, but prices are no different than where I live. I mean, don't let the looks fool you. It's a little small village, but doesn't mean it's going to be cheaper. Still the laws of supply and demand. There's a much smaller supply, a smaller demand too to match. It equals the same price.
10 baht.
Bye-bye.
So back at my buddy Charlie's little homestead here, you may remember him from the last episode where we had a little meal together. But he's got a constant parade of local villagers herding their buffalo and cattle right by the house here, and they were amazing creatures when you see them up close and personal, and quite friendly as well. They'd let you pet them. But they're all getting ready for a little bit of a gathering here, so let's look at that.
Show you what's going on. We got some of the food coming together over here. And there's other stuff being cooked as we speak here. Of course, the beverage. Should be a bit of a shindig, so probably different than what we had over in Konkan and Udon Thani, but it's supposed to be. This is a small village. So we'll see what the difference is. We'll see what this looks like. What do we got cooking over here? Spring rolls.
Oh yeah. Spring rolls. Look at that golden brown goodness.
So yeah, Charlie's quite the chef here. He's in here working away in the kitchen. Those spring rolls were actually stuffed with ham and cheese. They just melted in your mouth. He's also made bruschetta. Look at this. Gorgeous and all delicious as well. He's even done pigs in a blanket, but the blanket was actually bacon. So what he's done is some kind of nice Western fare to go along with all the Thai and village food that we're going to have for this big spread here. So that really kind of made it special. And this was one of my favorite dishes. This like kind of a sour bone soup, I guess that was. Really piping hot. It fogged up my lens there.
Look at all this. Oh, that is beautiful. Look at that.
Yes.
So much food, Charlie.
Oh, it's a full house tonight. Look at full house.
Oh, I know who's going to eat that. Somebody I know is going to eat that. Right there.
Okay.
You've met everybody.
I've met everybody.
You've met the lovely.
So yeah, there were a couple real characters in with the extended family, but everybody was so nice and neighborly and friendly. We kind of had two little areas. Most of the children sat over here with, I guess, their parents, and we had like a table set up on the side.
So we're getting ready to eat. There's so much food. So much food. But there's a lot of people, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, kokung tap.
So yeah, even though it was steaming hot outside, I still had quite an appetite. All the smells from them preparing this food and getting it all set out were quite appetizing, and I just couldn't wait to dig into a lot of this. Some of it I've had before, and some of it was new to me.
They've really outdone themselves. So I'm sure everything's going to be delicious. We're going to tuck in.
So yeah, as we started in, V made it clear that this had been her favorite day of the trip. She really enjoyed her day here in the village.
Yeah.
Everything was delicious. Really top notch. So I think everybody loved it. And the beverages are flowing. And the kids are out running around. And this is village life. So, best I can tell you anyway.
ไม่ต้องยักตาย
Beautiful morning here in the village. Had a great night last night, and I really got a little bit of a taste of the village life here in Isaan. There's nothing special about this village. It's just a typical little village. There's probably 1,000 just like it. But nonetheless, staying here for a day and a night and experiencing it all is, I think, been one of the highlights of the trip. So big thanks out to Charlie for putting this up and putting out a huge food spread, drink, little party last night, showing us around. Just amazing. So thank you, Charlie, and I hope your village looks as good on the video as it does in person.
So yeah, I really can't thank Charlie and his family enough. He even woke up and saw us off with this great breakfast. And I'll tell you what, this breakfast looked and tasted better than any hotel breakfast we had along the trip. So I hope that gives you a little insight to a typical village life down here in Isaan as we kind of blaze a path down to Ubon Ratchathani this morning. We're going to start the southern tier of the trip. We will be concluding this series over the weekend on Saturday and Sunday with a couple episodes featuring Ubon Ratchathani, Surin, and Sakyao, as well as summarizing the trip and trying to summarize it in a fashion that may help you if you're planning a trip like this in terms of costs and maybe the things I did right, the things I did wrong, what would I do if I had it to do over again, and so forth. But in light of that, I will go ahead and leave this episode off here, and as usual, I'll thank you for watching. And until next time, bye for now.